Assalamu alaikum. Today we're going to be taking a look at Surah Al-Ma'un. Now this surah basically talks about the characteristics of the people who deny or disbelieve in the Day of Judgment. So we're going to jump right into the first ayah.
بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم أرأيت الذي يكذب بالدين
Okay, so this ayah is saying, did you see the one who lies about the religion? Now, did you see is in a singular form, asking one person to see, and specifically talking to the Prophet ﷺ, but it's also open where we should also be thinking about this. Now, what's the point in asking it in a question form? It could have just said, let me tell you about the ones who deny the religion. But it's putting it in a question form to ask us to pause and to think about it and reflect on it. And did you see, it doesn't mean just physically did you literally see, but it also means did you take a moment to reflect on this or think about it. So it's asking us to take a moment and think. Now, the one who lies about the religion, this applies specifically to people at the time of the Prophet ﷺ, but it's also left in a general sense where it also applies to people that we encounter today. And the word yukadhibu, lies, is in present tense. So this person who is lying and presently lying against the religion, it's not in past tense, it's not something that this person did before and that was it. No, this person is continuously doing this, continuously lying against the religion. Now, deen we interpret as religion, but deen we also interpret as the Day of Judgment, Yawm ad-Din. Like we see in Surah Al-Fatiha when we say Maliki Yawm ad-Din, Yawm ad-Din is the Day of Deen or the Day of Judgment. So this could be interpreted as lying against the religion, but also disbelieving in the Day of Judgment. So not believing that the Day of Judgment is going to happen. Now, why is this important? Why does the surah start off with this ayah talking about the people who disbelieve in the Day of Judgment and then describing their characteristics? This tells us something, that the root of the problems are when people don't believe in the Day of Judgment, when they don't believe that they're going to be held accountable for their actions. Because when they do have that accountability in their heart, they aren't able to take part in those actions that are immoral or not good. And we will see that the surah even talks about the people who pray. So even the people who pray are not immune to this if they don't have that belief in the Day of Judgment that they're going to be held accountable for all their deeds. So let's take a look at the next ayah.
فذلك الذي يدع اليتيم
So now the surah goes on to describe some of the actions that these people take part in. For that is the one who drives away the orphan. Now yadu'u is a really strong word. It means someone who pushes someone far away very strongly, very aggressively, in an intimidating manner. And it's someone who can't really react back or respond back. So it's a very strong word. Now the first word in this sentence is dhalika. That is the one who drives away the orphan. Dhalika is a distancing word. It is describing someone but distancing them, that they are far. So Allah is using a word that distances these people away from Him to describe the people who are distancing the orphans away from them. So it's a very fitting word to use, to distance them and push them away the same way they are pushing away the orphans.
ولا يحض على طعام المسكين
And does not encourage the food of the poor. So this person, not just does this person not help the poor or feed the poor, but also doesn't encourage others to do it. And the ayah says food of the poor. This is very important. It doesn't say he doesn't feed the poor, he doesn't give the food of the poor, meaning what? That this food is actually the right of the poor. It is actually their food. So they're not giving the food that is theirs, that belongs to them. They're not given that to them.
فويل للمصلين الذين هم عن صلاتهم ساهون.
Now we start talking about the people who pray. Woe to the ones who pray, or destruction to those who pray. So this makes us all pause and think, whoa, what does this include me? What's happening? It's a very powerful ayah that makes us pause and think So first we saw people who violate the rights of creation. They don't help the orphans, they don't feed the poor, they don't encourage it. Now we talk about their violation of their rights to the Creator, because there has to be this gap there for them to be able to take part in the actions that they take part in. So they are heedless in their prayers. Their prayers aren't really of benefit. Now this is said to, it can include people who don't pray on time, or pray late, or skip prayers, or pray so quickly just to get the prayer out of the way and just get it over with, and therefore don't get the benefit of the prayer.
الذين هم يراءون.
And these are the ones who yura'un. Now yura'un is when you try to convince people that you're good, but in reality it's not true. So these are the people that pray in front of people to make it look like they pray, and they pray on time, and they pray really well, but behind closed doors they either don't pray really well, or delay their prayers, or don't even pray at all. So their prayers are not for Allah, but rather for people, just to have a good reputation with people. And therefore they don't get the benefit of their prayers, because their prayers aren't what they're supposed to be for.
ويمنعون الماعون.
And these people withhold simple assistance or small kindness. Now ma'un, so they prevent ma'un. Ma'un is commonly interpreted as small tools or utensils that you lend to someone, like a small pot or a bucket, something that you don't even really notice that you're lending. These people don't even lend or share these small items. That is the extent of how stingy they are and how reluctant they are to share absolutely anything, even the smallest of things. And with that, that brings us to the end of the surah. So the surah teaches us that it's really, really, really important to have a feeling of accountability and belief in the Day of Judgment, for us to be able to take part in actions that are good, and to actually feel in our heart that we want to help the poor, we want to help the orphans, and to make our prayers good and of benefit. And that's all basically. Assalamu alaikum.